Hi Rohit. Today I'm here to ask you some questions about 4DX. Now that we have used 4DX, which is 4 disciplines of execution, to execute our strategy since last 3 years, and our all staff are excited about it and doing big meetings regularly, week on week. So, how do you think that 4DX changed the way we work in SSC?
You're right. We've been using 4DX for a good 3 years, and I think 4DX has been very impactful. What I can say about the shared service center is that very early on in the shared service center, the leadership team was very good in terms of defining the strategy for the organization. But it was always very difficult to connect the strategy with all the staff members in the shared service center. I always believe in this, that you may have the best possible strategy, but if the execution of the strategy is not good, then it means nothing. Your second, third best strategy executed well is better off than the best strategy not executed well. What I feel is that 4DX is our tool for execution of strategy, and it has really assisted us in terms of executing our strategy, and that's where we came from.
Definitely right. So we have connected the strategy in a structured way of how 4DX has helped us to take it forward. So how 4DX helped in aligning our strategy with the staff goals? How do you think year on year it has helped in the strategy achievement?
I think the big thing 4DX, it's a wonderful tool by Franklin Covey, and I think the first time when I heard their presentation, I got attracted to this tool. The things which I see positive there is, like you mentioned, it helps create alignment within the whole organization, so you have a totally aligned organization. At the same time, it helps create transparency. So what happens is that you have the strategy defined by the top leaders at a senior level. And for us, when we look at the strategy and we define our goals, then it comes out to the Triple Crown as our goals, which we define every year. Now, what 4DX does is that at the leadership level, my goals are the organization goals, which are my widely important goals, which come out of the strategy. Then for the next layer, we can have goals aligned to those goals, and so on and on and on. So what it does is that the whole organization has aligned goals. It also creates transparency, because what happens is that every individual within the organization knows how he contributes to the organization strategy, because he can see the alignment from top to bottom really. So I think that's the way 4DX helps us create the alignment, and at the same time it helps us create the transparency, that I know the work, what I am doing and how it contributes to the strategy of my organization. And that's what makes execution of strategy easier.
Right, so alignment in an organization is very important to help the organization achieve their strategy and the goals. So how do you think we maintain the rigor of 4DX going forward?
I think we've done quite a good job, but still, always when you look back, there are ways, things to improve. First of all, I just want to talk from the positive aspect, and then I can talk about the areas to improve really. From a positive aspect, I say that we've reached the level of maturity where the whole organization understands 4DX and understand it's the way of working in the shared service center. They're very good in defining their widely important goals. They're very good in aligning those widely important goals with their leaders' widely important goals, and so on with the organization's widely important goals. So they understand very well how do we contribute towards it. What 4DX does very well is also that we guys have the weekly widely important goals meeting, and we look at what widely important goals are not going towards the right direction, and we take a weekly commitment and we try to take that forward. But when you look at lessons learned and areas of improvement, I think the area where we need to focus really is, and this year I think you're working a little bit on this, and I've also participated in defining everyone's widely important goals and their lead measures. So the area of improvements I feel is the lead measures. We are not defining the proactive lead measures which indicate whether your widely important goal is being achieved or not. Those we are not defining well, and it's actually quite a complicated task, to define the proactive measures which will lead you to the end goal. Because the philosophy of 4DX is that you can't monitor your larger goal on a week-to-week basis. So you have to have these proactive lead measures which give you an indication whether you're going to achieve your goal on a longer term or not. And you need to track these lead measures, and on basis of that you need to make your weekly commitment. So it's a fairly complicated thing to do, and I think that's the area of focus for the organization. And the way you form super coaches, we 4 of us were super coaches. I think we should really focus a lot in terms of attending these meetings and I'm pretty sure we'll come back saying, oh, the winding point goals are very good and the big meeting is happening very well. But I think we should focus a little bit on the lead measures and see that are these the proactive measures which forecast that your wildly important goal is going to be met or not.
Right, so the focus for this year, everyone, is to focus on the lead measures,
Yes.
right? Getting it right will help them achieve their week in a much better way. So yes, coaches we have with us as always every year, but super coaches is a new concept that we have introduced. So we have Rohit, Pooja, Tarun and me as super coaches, and we'll set the trigger of attending the WIG meetings and mentor them and guide them and coach them to be to have better WIG meetings and align their WIGs to the organization WIGs in a much better way. Any other thoughts that you would have for the staff in SSC?
I mean, I would say that I would want to congratulate the staff in terms of implementing 40X so well. I still remember 2 or 3 years back when we were launching, people were very skeptical and people thought this is a burden really. And now people realize that this is actually a very useful tool because of which we've been delivering Triple Crown year on year, and the shared service center is gaining advocacy and people rely on shared service center as a reliable partner who can deliver whatever work they have to perform. And I think 40X plays a big part to it. Sometimes you don't realize it because now it has become a part of our way of working, so you don't realize how it contributes. But I think we've come a long way because of 40X. So I mean, I would like to congratulate the staff for implementing it so well. Always the areas of improvement. We're talking about the lead measures. I'm sure that will help us even further improve implementing strategy. But I think we did pretty well.
Sure. Thank you, Rohit, for your time. I'm sure staff would work really hard to improve on the lead measures. We have been seeing their improvement year on year and will help the organization to achieve the strategy.
Sure.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.